Good afternoon. This is a meeting of the Eastham Board of Library Trustees. Will be video recorded and broadcast over local access channel 18 and through the town website at www.eastham-ma.gov. Call the meeting to order. And as our first order of business, I'd like to welcome Olivia as our student ambassador. And we'll have an opportunity to talk a bit later about the student ambassador. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Joanna Stevens, our past chair, for guiding us through this past year.
Thank you, Al.
Very much appreciated for all of your efforts. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Okay. Our next order of business is the minutes of June 18th. May I have a motion to accept the minutes as distributed?
I make a motion to accept the minutes of June 18th.
Okay,
I second.
I have a second. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. What have we got? 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Five.
5, 0.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's make sure I get the number right.
I just want to make one request, and this is more for Willow, that for these minutes, the minutes for today, we need to change, as you've just described, we need to change the
heading.
the heading
Yep.
for the chair, vice chair, and all that
changed.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that will be effective today. The next item on the agenda is the Nauset Regional High School Student Ambassador, and we have Olivia attending our first meeting with us.
What's the public comment?
Did I skip the public comment? I skipped the public
Yeah.
comment. Any members of the public person that would like to make a comment? Seeing none, we'll move on to the student ambassador. Did you have any thoughts that you wanted to share with us?
I don't think so. I'm really excited to do this. I think like doing the pictures of the school, like you were saying, could be a good thing to put on the website.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. And then also making like posters, maybe like you said, Julian used to. I could
Mhm.
also help with that.
That'd be
Yeah.
great. That was
Yeah.
really helpful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Have you had an opportunity to, there's a small description, I believe it's on the website.
It's in the packet.
It's in the
Okay.
packet for the role of the,
Yeah. I had sent it to her earlier,
Yeah.
but you may not. It's just a,
There was
it's
It's
kind of outlined here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I believe I put it in the packet, but
Yeah.
I don't believe it's on the website, but that's something that maybe we should put on the website.
yeah, that might be something, that might be helpful. And that just really, it's meant as an outline of,
Oh, thank you.
what, the student ambassador could anticipate doing. It's not a checklist of, we have to do all of these things. And one of the other communications that Olivia and I had is, sometimes if there are commitments that, back up onto the meeting and, you have to leave, by all means, you should feel comfortable in
Okay,
doing
thank
that.
you. Yeah.
It's one of the reasons too, that the student ambassador is earlier on the agenda.
Mhm.
So that gives you an opportunity that, you have someplace you have to get to. We're running a little late. You could feel free to just pick up and leave. Okay. Anybody have any other comments related to student ambassador?
Well, I just like to make a comment because I'm looking, I know it's in here and I'm trying to remember.
I'm trying to find the description there.
Here it is, I found it, yeah. And one of it says, meets at the beginning and end of term with appropriate library staff members to discuss programs and opportunities pertaining to Nauset Regional High School students. So if we're going to follow our guidance, meets at the beginning, so somehow or other we should set something up so Olivia can meet the staff.
Yeah.
And understand, the programs and how we operate here and all that type of stuff, so.
That would be a good thing to set up. Joanna and I had met with, as representatives of the board, as past chair and incoming chair, and Sarah, were you?
No.
You weren't. And we had an opportunity to talk a little bit about that little job description, if you will. But Melanie, if you, set
Yeah.
something up and just send us dates and we can talk a little bit about the programs and how they might benefit students and communication between you and us.
Okay, yeah, definitely.
And how she might be helpful with some of the programs as we move along.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and ideas you have too. This is a thing that is, growing, evolving, because the Board of Trustees really values the input that young people can give about services that we can offer at the
Mhm.
library. So that's kind of, why this exists and why we're hoping to continue to grow it and develop it, depending on the specific student ambassador we have in a given year, over time. So,
Yeah, we're kind of ignorant, so we don't know what we don't know. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's what I would emphasize is, because we're asking you to do these things, but also you can ask us,
Okay.
these things would be helpful
Yeah.
for what I see like that my peers would need.
Yeah.
Or any feedback
Okay,
that
yeah.
would be.
Yeah, very helpful.
that would
Okay.
help us.
Thank you. The Friends of the Library, I know that Debbie isn't able to be with us this morning. Willow, did you receive a copy
I
of
did.
her report?
I did.
Did you want to read that or would
I
you like
can
me
read
to?
it. I
Okay.
can read it for you. Hold on. It was a short meeting, a short report because, they didn't meet, the committee did not meet in the month of July. So she reported that. There was no July meeting. The annual book sale was a success. Hundreds of people went home with treasures and we cleared out just about $3,000 in profit from the sale. A shout out to Friends Board member Annie LaJoy, Julian's mom, who works at Eldred's Auction House and checks out our book donations that might have value. We sold a T.S. Eliot book for $200 in their auction last month. Friends-funded summer programs have been extremely successful, especially the animal ambassadors, the whale mobile, today's wingmasters, birds of prey, and last Saturday's Red Hawk singers and dancers. Setting up the Turner Room in the round allowed us to have at least 110 visitors with plenty of room for 3 performers. Last year in June, this year in July, next year in August. The next meeting will be August 1st, 2024.
Thank you. Willow.
Thanks, Debbie Abbott.
Okay. Okay, we're up to the director's report. Melanie, please.
So we have a lot of things going on with the building right now. So in terms of my other updates, it's pretty brief here, but I did just want to comment that our summer reading program is sort of off to the races. We are having a great flow of signups. And as Debbie Abbott commented, our summer programs are going off very well, very popular. I just want to say a special thank you to Victoria for helping with the Messy Art program on Thursday afternoons this summer. That's been a big hit in the past. We were able to move the timing around to work with her schedule. And we're really excited to be offering that again. We're also excited to announce that we've increased our budget for some of our streaming services in FY25. So that's kind of starting to take place this month, which is going to expand our patrons' access to digital content offered through the library. So that includes Canopy, which is our streaming video, as well as Hoopla, which is downloadable ebook and audio content. Yeah, so that's very exciting. This is our first summer that we've been open on Mondays, and it is going well, and that Mondays are popular. We are regularly, now that we're into the summer, seeing that we are serving, or we are seeing 200 people a day-ish coming through on Mondays, just during the 4-hour period, which is, depending on whether or not we have a program, kind of comparable to some of the days that we're open for 6 hours, which is really great. That being said, being open 6 days a week that are all very popular, the staff are definitely feeling that. Marianne has switched back to Saturdays for the summer, and we're asking for some of our part-timers to kind of help again on Mondays. So that's just kind of the flow of things, and I'm taking stock of this information as we kind of plan for staffing needs as we're trying to maintain these hours going forward. Some professional development updates. I attended the Outer Cape Community Solutions Town Hall on public health equity at the end of June, and that was at the Sheraton in town. And that was it was a very cool networking opportunity. The Outer Cape Community Solutions folks are just a collaboration of different social community services, serving all elements of people on the Outer Cape. And Alex Nelson, I don't know if you're familiar with her. She previously was with Helping Our Women and now she's with Outer Cape Community Solutions. And she does a great job getting information out to all the different groups, making folks aware of programs that exist that might be a benefit to your clients or your patrons. So this was a great networking opportunity. I connected with a lot of folks that we already know in the community, people who are our library patrons who might work at Cape Cod Children's Place or at Helping Our Women or with the local food pantries. And there was, some great speakers there talking about sort of the tone that we approach sort of public service and building trust with these groups. And that's how you provide good services by building those levels of trust. And that's how you get different groups of people that you might want to see in your library into your libraries by building those trusting relationships. So that was really excellent. And Marianne had previously been talking about we've had a couple of health fairs at the library, and she was talking about doing a little bit of a different take on that, wherein a sort of traditional health fair focuses on sort of your stats, right? Like screening for things, blood pressure, cholesterol, like those kinds of things. Thinking about health in a more community services orientation and maybe getting some of these community groups tables in the meeting room and having kind of a community services fair so that folks could become aware of lots of different services and programs in the community kind of all at once. And we were thinking of possibly collaborating that with, I don't know, like a food giveaway or something like that, so we can get that kind of food sustainability and access kind of involved in there too. So this is, kind of percolating. We're thinking about it in the back of our minds, but we're definitely thinking of working with Outer Cape Community Solutions to get all these different groups that we think are really important to have kind of represented here and see how we might be able to do that for our community. So thinking that might be a fall program. I'm excited to see how that develops. The outdoor creative play space project has been kind of on hold due to the other building projects. So I just wanted to give an update that I have not forgotten about it. We've just had some other things that have kind of taken priority there. But still thinking about how we might want to proceed with that. Does anyone have any questions about any elements of my report? Yeah.
On the Monday staff issue, do you have some concerns as to whether you really have the staff that you need to be open as on Mondays like we've been doing or discussing to do?
What I'm realizing is, as incredible as all of our part-timers are, I'm finding it difficult for a single day to be mostly staffed by part-timers. I don't know if it works really well at other libraries, but no matter how excellent those people are, and I am giving them other shifts throughout the week, I think it's just tough to feel fully connected to the overall flow of things. To feel like you have ownership or authority to do certain things in your job if you're a part-timer who only has a few shifts a week versus you might be used to working with somebody who's a full-timer who you can rely on a little more heavily. And then what sort of happens is, I'm that full-time person and obviously I can do that, but that limits my ability to focus on other director projects. So I'm just noticing that in the summer months when we are very busy and we have a lot of questions about sort of random things that might only come up in this in-season versus, we don't get as many questions about, where to go into
the winter.
Exactly. So I'm just really noticing that, I think strain is a strong word, but I wasn't feeling that way in the winter. And now I'm like, oh, we are like nose to the grindstone. And there's just lots of things going on. And I don't want it to come to a point where staff is feeling burnt out or that they can't get the support that they need because we know summer can be crazy. So I just want to take stock of the fact that this is the way that it is now so that we can try and prepare for that. I think a thing that I really want to work towards, and I had said this in the past, but then we got all these part-timers, but I think we really need, if we want to be open 6 days a week, we really need another full-time person. So not a right now thing, but I think in the future, if we're really going to want to maintain this, then that's kind of what we're looking for.
So would you, are you, well, maybe it's too early to ask, are you thinking of having a full-time person and not having so many part-time? Or are you thinking that we would need another full-time and have what you currently have as far as?
I think it's
staff?
a little bit early to say because
I can understand why, if you have too many part-timers working at the same time, that I can see that would be a problem. Now, I don't know as time goes on, whether those part-timers will become more attuned to being able to deal with things without needing somebody that you're saying probably would be helpful now, and especially if Mary Ann has moved from Mondays to Saturdays, that was a full-time person from a Monday to a Saturday.
Part of the, I'm sorry, go ahead, Al.
A question, could I ask, because I don't think we could really make any decisions or really have fruitful
yeah.
discussion now. When would be a good time to bring this back on the agenda? Would that be maybe around October after the summer has settled out?
I
We've
think
gone through
after we
September.
have kind of our like post-summer staff
Okay.
meeting.
So why don't
And that'll be
we,
the time when we're budget planning for FY26 as well.
Okay.
So that's, I think, really the time to get that conversation.
You'll have more
solidified.
information.
yeah, so what I'll do is I'll make a note and then our agenda prep meeting, we'll bring this back on the agenda for October. And by then you'll have a better sense of how the summer went. Once things have settled out, we'll be starting looking at it, the FY26 budget.
I think it
so that
could
might
be
the-
considered part of the fiscal year 26 budget discussion.
Yeah, so I think October would be a good starting point there, to be part of that discussion.
Cool.
Okay, so I'll put a note on that, and I'm sure you just have also. Okay, are there any other comments that you had on the director's report, Melanie, or just about? done
Unless
there?
anyone else has any questions.
Okay, good. Okay, moving on then to old business. I don't believe we have any policies to review and vote on today. So I think we're good there. And the CD renewal, the paperwork is in the packet. It's on about page 9. So I'm assuming everything went okay. The CD's been renewed.
We did
and-
renew for a year term,
Okay.
which is, different than what we've done in the past because we didn't have as many anticipated fund commitments this year, so.
Okay,
Do we know, because the renewal date was July 11th, do we know, I mean, the information that we have here was as of May 1st.
Yes.
Do we know what the renewal rate would be, was for 1 year as of July 11th?
I should have clarified with Maya, but I was told that we were gonna get the final rates the Tuesday before renewal, and then this was the information I got. So I'm not sure why it says as of May 1st, when it was supposed to be sort of as of the Tuesday before renewal.
Because
So
I
I
have
can-
that sort of circled here.
So we got 475. you
Yeah,
think?
that was, yes, that's my understanding, yeah. But I will double check
Yeah,
about
yeah.
why that date is different.
Yeah.
okay, thank you. Okay, was there any at the
You
roll?
wanted to confirm the rate.
Yeah, I wanna-
Yeah, don't worry about the sheet, but just confirm that the rate was 475.
Or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we don't care like what the date was on the sheet, but just what the rate is.
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, so I don't have anything else under old business, so we'll move on to new business. Okay, the question of the timing of our regular trustee meetings came up in an email and in some discussions. I think at the agenda prep meeting, we talked about it and we kicked it around for a while, talked about the possibility of moving dates. And I think the consensus at the agenda prep meeting was to recommend that we keep it on Tuesdays, but explore the possibility of starting a little bit earlier. You move to another day, and for every person that it benefits, it hurts somebody else.
When you say start, I can't start any earlier. on
Okay, well, that was the
Tuesdays.
thing, we wanted to just explore that and see, was there a possibility of starting earlier? And
Why would-
you're not.
Sorry
able
to get, I should give the background, right? Because I
Okay, sure.
haven't had a chance to talk.
Okay.
The school committee, the elementary school committee, which I joined, they do not have, I thought, because I started going to the meetings in the spring, that they met the second Tuesday of the month at 5 PM. But they don't in the fall. So
Oh, Sarah.
so they meet at 5 PM on the third Tuesday of the month for the fall and winter hours. So there's 5 conflicting dates. So once I found out, I notified Melanie and Al, and I came up with possible ideas. So one idea that we all agreed would be the potentially best one is to start it at 3:30. Just in, because we normally don't run over like an hour and 15 minutes-ish. I have also asked the school committee to move it to 5:30. But the town hall is involved with that, and the superintendent and I haven't heard back from them. It's many people in that meeting.
Mhm.
So, I mean, obviously, if it doesn't work for the group, like I'll set, either I miss some of their meetings, I miss some of this meeting, I leave early, whatever, but that's the case. And I'm sorry this happened because
You
I-
planned so carefully.
I really thought, I was like, oh, this is great. It worked out because we moved our meeting to the third Tuesday. So when I got it, I was like,
Can
Yeah,
we do a different
Okay.
Tuesday of the month?
excuse
A
me.
different Tuesday of the month
Um,
and keep?
well,
the
because
time?
they flip flop
yeah,
their they either do the second Tuesday or the third Tuesday.
Oh, so
and
that,
and I would run into a problem like Mary did, is if we started moving it around. I've got other meetings and
Mhm.
stuff like that and doctor's appointments made, so it would begin to conflict. So I think possibly the best solution, and we'll try to keep it to a minimum, be as accommodative as possible,
Mhm.
is, might have to miss part of a meeting or, something like that. And the minutes come out promptly after the
then we
meeting.
might change the order of our agenda to
Yeah.
hit some of the decisive conversations up front.
Yes,
Mhm.
so yeah, if we know,
Mhm.
and you'll be at the agenda prep meeting, so if
Right, okay.
if we know that a conflict is coming up and there's something on the agenda that you really want to make sure that you're a part of that discussion,
Yeah.
Mhm.
We can do that.
we could juggle the agenda around and
Yeah,
make sure that we do it, either move it later or earlier, depending on the need.
right, and we could one-off move a meeting as well, like if
Yeah.
we said, oh, this month, Mary, are you available to have it be earlier, and you
Sure.
would,
Yeah,
we could do it under that.
yeah, we could
circumstance.
do, is it possible to move to this date? Everyone have their calendar?
Right,
Right.
okay.
It does get a little challenging because these rooms are very popular, and because we allow the public to book up to 2 months in advance.
Okay,
We would need a little bit,
Mhm.
it's not impossible, but the summer makes it
Right.
tricky, it would be.
I'm just thinking the 3:30 start date, like I'm a start time, I'm not thinking like,
And what about
Have it be on a
Olivia
Friday.
for 3:30?
Yeah,
Yeah.
in terms of the high
Yeah,
school.
what time would you get out of school?
We get out of school at 3, but I mean, sometimes the traffic gets backed up just because like the one street, but it should be able to be here by 3:30.
Yeah, and again, it's, if it came to pass that we moved the meeting to 3:30, it's like, you do not have to be here when the meeting is called to order. So don't pass red lights or
Yeah.
stop school
Be
buses
safe.
or anything like that.
Do you do sports?
Yes, I do volleyball, but I think we're switching to morning practices on Tuesdays during the
And
day,
how about
so it's
games?
worked out perfectly. And then game days are a different day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I think we reviewed the meeting time, where for now, then we're going to keep it as it is. But strive to be as flexible as we can be as needed. I think that's probably a solution that will work.
So we're leaving it for the third Tuesday at 4.
Correct.
because you can't do 3:30,
I
right?
can't, no.
Okay.
Yeah, and today, like at 3:30 today, not always, but today it would have been difficult for me. Because I was at a meeting in Dennis and
Yeah.
sort of hurried to get back to this. So it happens, yeah. Okay, the next item is the approval of director expenditure of library memorial trust funds. This is an annual motion that we do, authorizing Melanie to expend monies from the various library memorial trust funds. So I'm gonna ask for a motion here, and a proposed motion is on the agenda. Would someone like to make that motion?
The motion, assume it's made and seconded, is to allow the library director to expend from the various library memorial funds for the needs of the library during FY25.
So we need someone to move that.
So moved.
Okay, Joanna, and someone to second.
I'll second.
Okay, we have it's been moved and seconded. Any additional discussion on that?
You put this description for each fund in the packet, which thank you. Is it possible, because I see it's in an Excel spreadsheet, so I couldn't read everything.
Oh.
Cut off.
If you,
Expand it.
yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
can, I don't know if anyone else is interested in reading all of the things.
I think
but-
it's very interesting to know.
Mhm.
But I certainly noticed in some of them that you could, spend the principal or it gave the trustees, even if it said just spending the income, then it also gave the trustees the ability to do with it, you know, what they thought. So I think that a goal should be to be spending them down, so there's not all of these
Yeah, the
several
ones-
accounts to be keeping track of.
Yeah, for the ones that we can do that for. So yeah, if you could send that maybe to Sarah as an Excel sheet and then she
Yeah.
can expand it as needed.
Yeah, you can send that to me and then I can put from the last information what the amount is. Or if you have that updated, that spreadsheet that you have too, and then we could talk about or help Melanie kind of like develop a plan for spending those down, and so we
Yeah.
can kind of,
If it's possible, Melanie gets that Excel sheet to you and you could take a look at that before our next agenda prep
Mhm.
meeting. Go through a quick discussion there and then maybe bring it back on the agenda with a recommendation of,
Mhm.
where these are the 3 of the funds or 4 of the funds that we can actually spend down to eliminate or to reduce the number of memorial trust funds.
and does everyone, and also I just wanted, does everyone agree with that
I-
theory?
I'd like to make a recommendation because we talked about it at the last meeting
Mhm.
about these things, and I've gone through it myself. In fact, I had a little different I found a little different grouping of information that I just shared with Melanie earlier on all the funds. But anyway, I went through them all, and I think that maybe Melanie and I and you
Mhm.
should
Mhm.
sit down and go through the funds
Okay.
and discuss how they might be able to be combined or however, what our options are. And then I think since we've had a conversation on investment options with Rich, that we could present our thoughts on how we might be able to coordinate and combine or however you want to phrase, because as I said, I won't go through it all myself, I mean, right this minute, but there's some that regarding genealogy, there's some regarding just basic operation, there's some regarding children,
Mhm.
and that I think could be combined in some fashion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I would want to discuss that with Rich to see.
To invest it rather than spend it.
Yeah, well, no, I think that on the principal part, based on what I understand, the principal probably can't be used. But if you combine a bunch of them together, where the principal is a little bit larger, then you get a better, the interest rate on a
Right.
larger fund would give you more
Mhm.
monies. Instead of having a piddly amount here and a piddly amount there and a piddly
Yeah.
amount there and.
But what I was surprised about is there were several that it does seem that we can do the principal.
Yeah.
So I'm saying those, I feel like would be the priority
Mhm.
to,
So I don't know what your thoughts are.
Well, I
and
think,
I'll go,
yeah.
and yeah, so I
why
can,
don't then, Sarah, Mary, Melanie, take a
Mhm.
look at that? And if it could be done before the agenda prep meeting.
right, okay,
And then, we could put that, wherever it is, we can put that on the agenda for our next regular meeting. And that'll move that discussion along. So it sounds to me like we're talking about a combination of identifying funds that can be spent down so that we can reduce the overall number of funds. But also, as if I'm understanding Mary correctly, is to see if there are funds that could be, smaller amounts can be combined together
Mhm.
with an eye towards possibly getting a better investment return on
Mhm.
that money, and that would involve a discussion with Rich to
Mhm.
see where that goes. So I will bring that back then to to our August agenda, if you've had an opportunity to have those discussions and come up with some kind of a recommendation. And if not, we can push it to September, so it doesn't have to be specific. Okay, the next item on the agenda is 8C, the review and approval of the trustee goals. They're on pages 10 to 11 of the packet. And that, let me just get back there for a second. Okay, This is a list that we look at every year. We cleaned it up last year quite a bit because the numbering was weird.
Right.
And if you look down the list, it looks like we do almost every single one of those things.
Except
In
for
every year,
bylaws, yeah.
except for review of the bylaws, which would be done every 5 years. The next fine doing that would be FY28, because we did that. So conceivably, we could just edit the chart to push it out to FY30 and drop FY24. Unless anyone had additional suggestions, are there things on the list that we don't need to review every year? Or are there things that are not on the list that should be on the list? So I'll stop talking for a moment and give you a moment to think.
I have a couple of comments. Number one, I'm on, let me see, what page am I on? I'm on the last, I'll call it the last page.
Okay, of the goals.
And it's the second item, implement the Northeast Document Conservation Center's recommendation. I don't know what those are.
Yeah.
We,
A
had-
long time ago.
yeah, we had a report done, by the NEDCC. And they had the like trackers in the room so that they could get the data about the temperature and humidity control. And they had some other recommendations, including suggesting that we should develop a collection development policy specific to the EPAM room collection. So I have that, and every once in a while I think about it, but it keeps
Too
falling
many
down
other things going on.
yeah, and the thing is, kind of about this room is the sort of public education piece about keeping this room pretty cool is confusing to them. So we get a lot of people just I know we're having HVAC issues anyway, but a lot of people sort of messing around with the temperature sort of on its own anyway. So it's still maintained to a standard that it should be, but in terms of, following their recommendations to the letter, there are certain things that I've kind of let go a little bit because, we're not really able to kind of maintain to the ideal standard. But I do still have that, and it's kind of my feeling as the director. I don't know if we need to be having it on here.
Yeah, that's sort of a building.
Yeah. It feels like a report that we had that we want to use to inform future projects, but in terms of reviewing it every year, we're not really doing that. And I don't know that I feel that we need to be doing that as a group, but these are the trustees' goals. So it's really up to you folks,
I don't think it's a goal. I think it's something that we monitor.
like an action item.
Yes,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
building item that we monitor. It's not something that we should say, okay, next year we have this goal of this or that. That's my opinion.
So you're saying maybe we don't need to have that listed as
That's
on the
right.
sheet?
That's
Yes.
what I would be recommending.
I do not have a problem with removing
No, I
that as a
agree.
goal.
I agree.
Okay, so the suggested edit there would be to remove the one that starts with implement.
Yeah, that should be item 6.
I just checked it on the Word document. It is, for some reason, when I converted to a PDF, they all listed out as 5s. But on the original document, it's
Okay.
numbered correctly.
So we're taking out number 6.
Yeah, I think that would be, I think that's, well, yeah, it would be number 6, implement the Northeast document, et cetera. And then I'll send an updated copy of that to everybody.
Now, I have another comment on what is or should be item 7, which is the next one, which is shown as 5 for some folks. Review individual trustee roles. I think something should be put in there that we do that at the beginning of each fiscal year. That's not something we do on a
That's right.
Yeah.
monthly basis.
I don't, what does that mean, post on monthly
Well, it's
agenda?
just-
Does
it's
that
just
mean
the-
the thing,
it's just
the
the-
footer?
Yeah, that's the
the
footer.
Oh, that's what it
bottom.
means.
Yeah.
And we do review the individual trustee roles usually at the reorganization meeting.
Right.
But I think what you're saying, Mary, is let's put that on here.
Right.
So so for number 7, it would be at the beginning of each fiscal year?
That's what I wrote for myself, yeah.
Okay. You can,
Could we use another word other than post?
where is that
Monthly
post?
agenda, because we're not gonna, I thought that meant like, oh,
post on
discuss.
monthly agenda.
Oh, like it's a discussion.
Display on monthly.
But no,
agenda.
noted.
Note on.
Yeah,
monthly
noted.
agenda.
On monthly,
Yeah, noted
noted on monthly agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have the edit for number 5, the edit for number 7, and pushing to out to FY30 and dropping FY24. Any other edits that we'd like to see on that?
To number 2, the solar initiatives. Actually kind of remember you guys talking
Yeah,
about this last year.
we
Were you
went up-
going to remove it?
No, we decided to keep it. We did question that,
You're right,
but we
okay.
decided to keep it. Doesn't mean it needs to continue if.
I'm sorry, I
It's
didn't hear what
relevant.
you said.
On number 2, 2F, pursue solar initiatives.
Oh, yeah.
I remember I wasn't on that board, but you,
mhm.
and I can't remember why you decided to keep it, but
I think Mary might have felt, did you feel, Mary, that we still, should?
Well, there's you never know with the solar situation. I mean, the town is always looking into possibilities, and I know one time they talked about, and I think all of us are aware of putting a canopy over the parking lot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
or what, or could we make it broader, pursue,
Energy efficient.
yes, energy
Yeah.
efficient
I think that's,
initiatives.
Yeah, that gets more of what the board is trying to accomplish.
yeah,
Mhm.
yes.
So pursue energy
Efficiencies.
efficiency initiatives.
Or just efficiencies. I don't care.
And that's number 8, was that,
No,
Number 2.
Number
2F.
2F.
or 2F?
And I'm still under 2, well, we're on 2. 2C, seek funding to address the health and safety needs of both staff and patrons.
I'm sure that was a COVID.
Seek
Something.
Yeah.
funding.
Yeah,
Could drop that one maybe?
I don't think that's something that we're going to be doing this coming fiscal year, are we? Or seek funding to address the health and safety needs?
it does feel like it came out of COVID and that at this point in time, it's kind of getting. Like this is not, of course, we're concerned about public health and
health,
safety,
yeah.
but we're not actively, providing health services or safety. So I feel
Right.
like I don't know, it sounds a little.
We also don't
Confusing.
need the funding for it.
Right.
Right, 'cause
It's-
I'm thinking, oh, it might have been like the Narcan training or something, but it's not like you're concerned about funding for that.
Yeah, we're not seeking the funding
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
that. So we dropped that one.
So I would think we dropped 2C.
Okay, and then we letter the other ones in that section.
Right. And I have another thing that I think that, I don't have a problem with it on here, but I think we've got to do a better job regarding it, and it's 3B.
Mm.
Implement the long-range plan. We put the long-range plan together, but we never sit down here and say, these are things that we should be working on, or things that should be coming up that we should be considering, or when was the last time we discussed the long-range plan in this meeting here?
Usually what we do, and we can do it more thoroughly, so, our long range plan covers, I think, 5 years.
Mhm,
And then what I had been doing previously was writing up an action plan annually and then
right,
giving that
right.
to the board. So that
And
you
that's
folks,
what I think what we need to sit down and say, what should the trustees be doing to
Yes.
support the long-range plan for this coming fiscal year?
I agree. I think that we should still do that for this year, even though it's technically not like within our long range plan. I think, just to remind folks, our long range plan is gonna be sort of expired after this
Mhm,
year. So
mhm.
we are gonna eventually be looking to update that and do that again. And you're required to have sort of an up-to-date one if you're looking to apply for.
LSTA.
Exactly, and we're not, but that doesn't mean that we can't still do an action plan to sort of focus ourselves this year.
Mhm.
So it had kind of gotten a little off my radar because,
A lot of other things
yeah,
going on.
anyway, so yes, I agree. I think that we should do that. So
I just feel that we need to do a better job of what we need to do to accomplish what we
Mhm.
feel that plan requires of the trustees.
Okay.
Okay, So we'll remain on the list of goals
Yeah,
with the understanding that we'll strive to do a better job in that area.
I'm wondering if, I'm not sure how many pages the long range, not the long range plan itself, but the long range plan for next year, for this coming fiscal year.
How long? it needs to
Yeah,
be?
could those pages, could that be put into the next packet?
Just to be clear about what you're asking, so
Yeah.
the long range plan is sort of quite extensive, and then
Right.
what I usually do for the action plan is kind of
That,
pick out.
I'm sorry, I meant the action
Oh,
plan.
okay.
I'm sorry, I meant,
It's okay, so you.
I meant the action plan.
What I do is I sort of pick and choose based on like what's kind of going on, what I feel are like things that we're actively working towards in a given year, so
Mhm.
it's sort of like a subset of those
Yeah,
things.
right,
So you
right.
want me to just do that again? is
yes,
what you're
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Mhm.
Because I think that if we have that, then that should be sort of part of our almost every meeting type of thing. Not that
Okay.
we spend a lot of time discussing it, but I think we've got, we haven't really, from my perspective, taken into account what we should be doing to maintain it. Or do the action items that we need should be taking.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Okay,
Can I just see if I captured what we've all said
Sure.
here? Recommendations on the trustee goals are one, to, Al recommended that we drop the last year and extend the goals out an additional year to FY30. Mary noted that number 6 is not a goal and rather a building activity that is monitored and not necessarily on this, a goal. I'll have to phrase it better. Therefore, we will remove item number 6 on the original document. Item number 7 will be rewritten that trustee roles will be reviewed at the beginning of the fiscal year and noted on the monthly agenda. On 2F, we will continue the goal of pursuing energy efficiency. And we're going to eliminate 2C regarding public health and safety. Finally, we will retain 3B on implementing the long-range plan but also do a better job on reviewing these results.
I think something there, not action, so the word action plan should be in that,
In which one?
in the 3B.
Okay,
I'm not sure how,
reviewing
Im-
an,
implement.
we'll do a better job of
implement-
creating an
how about
action plan.
implement?
We will retain 3B on implementing the long-range plan. We'll do a better job of creating an action plan and reviewing these results.
No,
No,
You want the actual 3B language to be changed?
yeah. I think maybe Melanie can help us here. How should we phrase that? Because
Develop annual action plan
develop.
in order to implement the long range plan? Is that a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
more clear?
that might be work. Yeah.
So develop annual action plan
Mhm.
in order to implement the long range plan.
Develop annual action plan. What was that word again, Melanie? Develop annual action plan to support.
In order to implement.
In
the
order
long
to
range plan.
implement, okay, in order to implement the long range plan. Okay, yeah, I think
okay,
that,
regarding 3B, the implementation of the long-range plan. We will develop annual action plans in order to implement the long-range plan. Is that what you want?
Does that
Mhm,
sound good?
mhm, mhm,
action
mhm,
plan to be
Okay.
followed. Sounds okay to me.
mhm, mhm.
And again, this will come back to you in next month's
Yeah,
packet.
Yeah.
So it will be subject to additional
Mhm.
discussion and editing if we need.
Mhm.
So I think we cleaned up the language some, and we'll get that out.
And I have another question, and because it's been sort of on my mind for a long time now, it's 4B. Explore additional funding sources such as grants and gifting, et cetera, et cetera. I know we've had these conversations numerous times, especially when LBIFI was dissolved.
I think to me, I interpret that as we need to stay open to the idea of doing that. Not that we necessarily have to do it
Mhm.
every year.
No, oh, no,
I
no.
mean, when the need arose for, the new library,
Mhm.
the board at that time said, let's form LBIFI and raise some money.
Mhm.
And if we had something of that nature came along, we would be open to the idea of exploring additional funding sources.
Mhm.
At the moment, I don't see that we have anything to explore additional funding sources for. So I could see just leaving that, and it's in there as a placeholder,
Mhm.
but it's dormant. It's
Mhm.
not doing anything until the need arises.
Mhm.
Mm.
That's my take on it.
Mhm.
And in the same vein, I see that as, the trustees should have sort of an awareness if they hear about like a relevant grant, right? We share that information, with each other kind of a thing, so.
I think the last time we revised this, we added the language about the MBLC handbook, because the question was, is it really the function of the trustees to seek funding sources? And then we looked in the trustee reference, and the answer was yes.
Yes.
It's a responsibility, so we put that reference in there to
Mhm.
clarify that, yes, that's one of our responsibilities
Mhm.
when the need arises,
Mhm.
in
See, I was just thinking that we moved into this library in November of 2016, so 10 years will be November 2026. And I'm just wondering whether we should consider, and I don't have any bright ideas at the moment, consider doing something for the folks that did support us back when we moved in, with the people, and maybe the people that are on that
Mhm.
board out there in front of the program room. To see if they would still be interested in, I mean, some of us aren't even alive anymore, but.
No, we're alive. I am. I really am.
That's a good idea.
I'm sorry,
That's a good idea.
I'm just, I'm gonna ask Willow her thoughts, because she's good at
Parties?
just, well, not just party, but maintaining relationships with folks that were involved before.
A lot of people call fundraising, friend raising.
Mhm,
And it really always is important for every nonprofit to keep their friends
Mhm.
as a community. And so I think that's a very good idea. And there are lots of ways we can do it subtly, like having a 5-year anniversary and inviting people off
Mhm.
that board to
Mhm.
come and see what their investment
Mhm.
has grown
Realized.
into 5 years in the future. But there are nice ways to recognize that core group of philanthropists, as well as invite others into it. So I think that's always a good idea.
Actually, I was just, so many people I've seen lately, and just even today when I was talking with the Belmont people, and we're talking about what people ask me, especially in summer, it seems, people that haven't been here for a while. When, oh, this is beautiful. When did this open? When did, what's the story? And so often I say, we opened November of 2016. Oh, my heavens, that type of thing. And then I'm saying, oh, my God, that in 10 years, that's 2026.
That's around the corner.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
Wow.
10 years, 10 years. Yeah. It's amazing to me. It's just amazing to me.
Okay.
10 years.
I think maybe we should put that on you seem like you made a note, Al, are you gonna add that to an upcoming agenda?
Yeah.
Probably.
Actually, I didn't make a note to add that to an upcoming agenda.
Pre-planning. for
I
a 10-year
think,
anniversary.
I think that might be a separate discussion
Like a little
of
committee.
how do we reach out to existing donors to cultivate them
Yeah.
and
Right.
keep them as friends. How do you want to approach that? Do you want to have someone put a proposal together on that and just bring it to a next meeting? And say
Well, I think that was
an
part of what I
anniversary?
was,
Yeah.
what I, 2 meetings ago, I think, or what had said in terms of having donors and relationships, like that, remember? And then then you sent the email about like the wall plaques,
Oh,
which
yeah.
wasn't really what I was talking about. I was
Right.
talking about situations like this, like if somebody, wanted to make a 20, wanted to commit $20,000 to the library in their will or something like that. But and then we just, with the end of the year, we were gonna push it off, which also worked well for me. So I'm happy to do more work on it and put my thoughts around it. I also wanted to talk to Debbie because just figuring out all the donations around the library, and this conversation has been helpful. It seems like at the moment, if somebody wanted to make a donation, we would direct them to the Friends.
No,
Not
No,
necessarily,
no.
Okay.
possibly to Melanie, so the donation could be made to the trustees.
right.
Or it can be made to the Friends.
Mhm.
Those would be the two options.
Okay, all right. So I have some interviews to do.
And
I
to
have
the
some
Friends, it would
side
be more
notes to do.
programming and materials and things like that. And if somebody wanted to make a donation to the library for other
Technology or.
purposes, that would be to the library itself.
Mhm.
Well, okay, give it some thought and,
Yeah, so I feel like it's a 2 or 3 stepped process,
Mhm.
mainly like to have this conversation about first get an idea about what we would do if somebody wanted to make a donation, have kind of that
okay.
framework laid out, and then that rolls into all these individuals that have made contributions to the library, how we can celebrate them and celebrate our anniversary and attract more
Mhm.
people to become involved that way.
Okay,
Right?
so why don't you give that some thought?
Yeah.
I made a note, it'll be on the agenda prep meeting.
Okay.
And then that way, if we want to bring it back to the next meeting.
That is not gonna be ready for August. I'm just
No.
gonna say.
Okay, so
No.
it'll be
In
there.
the future.
Yeah, what I typically have done, Sarah, is I'll put it there on the agenda prep meeting. And a perfectly okay response at that time is that's not ready yet.
Okay.
At which point we'll say, okay, we'll move it to September or we'll
Yeah.
move it to October. But I put it there just so that we don't lose track of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Otherwise, we say, oh yeah, we should look into that.
Forget.
And then next year we'll be saying the same thing. So
Got
I'll
it.
put it there, but a perfectly okay response when we get there is that's not ready for discussion yet.
And I just want to say, because I've been thinking about this for a while, this is what Sturgis Library did a while back
Mhm.
when they were trying to raise some funds. A little booklet that they put together, a form that they sent out to people and a thing to put down all the money you're gonna give to us. So I can share that with you, just
Okay.
so you can see it.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm going to,
I take it there's no motion.
I was just gonna say, I'm gonna put the motion off
Good.
to our August meeting.
Yep.
At which point we'll be looking at the goals with the edits that we just discussed. And that'll give everybody a chance to give it another look and see if there's anything else that needs to be fine tuned. Hopefully in August, there won't be a lot like there was today, but if there are a couple of small revisions, we can make those edits and then vote and then fix the written part of it later. Okay, I think we sort of discussed the expectations of the student ambassador already. We looked at the sheet, talked about, what it was, talked about, Olivia, meeting with Melanie and possibly myself, to go over the student ambassador's role. So unless anyone else wants to revisit that.
I just have a comment, Al, it does say that we'll meet at the beginning and end of term. Did anybody meet with Julian?
No, I think what our experience has been is at the end of the term,
Lucky to get
the
a
student
dinner.
ambassador is moving on.
Yeah.
And, and so we did not.
Maybe, a bit earlier, just because the springtime gets hectic with finals and everything, we should consider
had
doing
said
an
that.
early exit interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think by Christmas at the latest, we need to start talking to the ambassador
Yeah,
about,
The future.
the future.
Okay.
Yeah, because we had meant to do that last year and we were a little earlier, but still it's
Not
not,
enough.
no,
All right.
yeah.
So I think that's. Yeah.
Maybe around December, you're saying, Joanna?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll put it on our calendar.
Yeah. put
Yeah.
put
just
it
as
on
a
the
as a
template.
reminder
Put it on
to
the
do it
template.
come
Yeah.
December.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
mhm.
okay, moving right along. We're into the financial reports. We have the FY24, which is the closeout budget, so. Melanie, did you want to pick up with the finances?
Sure, so we're all, closed out for FY24 and pretty much on budget for everything. You can see there's a small amount of overspending in the part-time salaries, but there's always a little wiggle room there. So we finished up that part of our operating budget and we supplemented from the trustees for those part-time folks in FY24. But now in FY25, we have a substantial line item from the town to pay for those part-time folks, so we should be good to go there. Not too much to comment on our other expenses. We had a good amount that we were able to make do with for this year for building repairs, and we were right on budget with our software from the clams licenses, as well as. Bye, Olivia. Thank you so much. As well as the user full cost of the public computers and the LibCal software that we use to do the calendar reservations. The 2,000 some that you're seeing left over is because what I usually do is I ask the town for the full amount to cover the clam software. But each year we, as a small public library, are eligible for a grant that the Clams Network applies for on behalf of us. So we kind of get that back every year, but I don't want to not ask for it in the event that we don't get it one year, and then we'd be short on our what we need to cover the Clams software budget. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So that's what you're seeing left over there. And then, yeah, we did, really well on everything else, and we spent, just over in unclassified books and materials. So we're pretty much right on budget there. Looking forward to spending funds for FY25. Any questions about that? Mary?
So something that really hit me
Mhm.
is, and just about every department in the town has longevity. Is the 5,000 all longevity?
Yes, this is how it's always been listed out to me.
Yeah.
That's not ever been something that I've had to manage. It's always sort of like presented to me.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure where that kind of comes from.
I want to ask Rich about that because.
Are you
because-
wondering like how that's kind of divided up? Because
Yeah.
I can show you the employee association contract so that you can see how that's listed out. But this is just something that admin manages, and then they just kind of,
That they tell you what it's going to be based on the
Exactly.
length of
Yeah.
time people there.
Yeah, but if you'd like to see, who is eligible for what based on the amount of
Oh,
time.
yeah,
that
I
they've
don't
been
need to
over.
know that, but I'm just saying that, I'm just looking now at the fiscal year 24 budget, that we have in the packet. The salaries, the 464, that's in the warrant.
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's
that.
the salary in the warrant. And so it was my understanding, this is something, as I said, I want to talk to Rich about. It's my understanding that people, we know in advance about what the longevity would be for anybody, for any department, based on the length of time they've been here. It's not something that we're going to be deciding on at the last minute.
Mhm.
So I don't understand, and it's nothing to do with you, Melanie. I don't understand why that's not part of the 464, because if you look at the warrant, it says for salaries for the library, the 464 figure, the 5,000 isn't included there.
Hmm.
So that's.
You're saying the 464 is the number that was approved at town meeting.
That's an Article 2A, yeah.
Yeah, so another way is to say that 5450 should be included
Yeah, that-
under the budgeted amount,
yes,
not
yes.
just the
I
expenses.
don't, and.
Yeah, that's a discussion to have with.
Yeah,
Rich,
yeah,
I
yeah,
think.
I'm
Yeah,
just-
because
I'm
we're
just-
not gonna,
it's
we're not
something,
gonna.
Right, it's just
It's a
something.
good point, though. I see what you're
It's something
saying.
that, because I wanna, yeah, I won't
Yeah.
go through it. My only other question is, under the books materials, where we had a budget of 3,000 and we spent 893.66 for a little over 2,000 left. And I looked to see what we spent in the last couple of years, and we've spent, close to, the fiscal year 23, 2,285.
Mhm.
And we have 3,250 for fiscal year 25.
Mhm.
So I'm just surprised that we have so much left over.
I was surprised too, because my first couple of years, we were going through that much more quickly.
Yeah,
But I
yeah.
know with certain supplies, that doesn't always shake out exactly as you're expecting, kind of
Mhm.
year to year. And the other thing was, I feel like we were ordering a lot more intensive book supplies during COVID. And that's kind of a feeling. I'd have to look more at the actual ordering,
Mhm.
to see, you know, what was kind of purchased
All the
in each
paper
year.
bags,
I'm sorry.
like all the paper bags and stuff.
Yeah, like things like that. So I was also surprised about that, but,
Yeah, yeah.
I can't say off the top of my head exactly
No,
why
yeah,
that
no,
was.
no,
Yeah.
yeah, it just struck me as, you know, we've had a budget there, and in the last couple of years, and we've spent close to what we had in the
Mhm,
budget,
mhm,
and,
Which is why I asked for more.
and only 893 for
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
okay.
okay.
We'll move on to the FY25 operating budget, I believe. Yeah,
so it's been a
that's
couple
next
months
in
that
the
we,
packet.
oh, sorry.
No, that's right. I was just saying
Oh,
it's
okay.
next in the packet.
We've seen this before, but it's been a couple months, so just some reminders. This year I worked with Rich to really list out different expenses in each area.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He's trying to give, especially the
Mhm.
select board, a lot more transparency about what's going on, and it just is providing clear communication between, you know, individual departments and, you know, the overseeing bodies that be. So we have under our repair maintenance line, specific line items for our fire alarm maintenance, security alarm maintenance, the elevator inspection, gutter
Mhm.
cleaning, window cleaning, and, you know, additional funds for other things that come up. And then we also have listed out under our professional and technical expenses, all the different softwares that we are paying for under there, including the calendar reservation software, the computer reservation software, and our clam software. And then beyond that, we got a big increase for our circulating books and materials, which is great. So we'll be able to expend on a lot more of that from our operating budget, meaning that the friends don't have to supplement to the same degree for our collections, and they can focus more on providing money for programs, which is their kind of main thing that they love to do.
Mhm.
Yeah, any questions about FY25? Right,
I'm ecstatic about the 116,000.
me too.
Okay, the next one then is the FY25 financial commitments, and we're gonna do we'll do a vote on that one.
Yes. So we just have, at this point in time, two commitments that we kind of do annually. We had actually increased what we asked for. Usually, we traditionally designate $1,500 from the trustees towards staff development. And in the past few years, we haven't really used that. Again, COVID meant people weren't really traveling to conferences, doing things in person quite as much, but we did have a bunch of folks this past year go to MLA and a couple other conferences, and we asked for more from the trustees, which the board generously provided. So I'm asking for 2,000 up front, hoping that we're gonna kind of continue to encourage that development among staff and send more folks to conferences this year. And then the cost for piano tuning has just kind of increased a little bit over time. The Friends have a line item for that, so they cover 2 or 3 piano tunings, kind of depending. And then the trustees have usually supplemented it beyond that. So I just asked for a little bit of an increase there to make sure that we're covering.
What is that number for piano tuning now?
It's $250 per tuning, but sometimes he does some other things that is like a little bit less, so it might
So what are you asking
vary.
for?
For $600 for
Okay.
piano tuning, I'm
That's
sorry. So the total fund commitments I'm asking for the trustees to commit at this time for FY25 is $2,600.
Okay, so may I have a motion to approve the listed the financial commitments listed in the packet in the amount of $2,600 for FY25? I have a motion.
I make the motion that we approve the 2,000 for the staff development and 600 for the piano tuning for financial commitments for fiscal year 25 for a total of $2,600.
Okay, the second.
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Okay. We already discussed the memorial accounts, which is the next item on the agenda, and we can take a look at that and come back with a report on that.
Just one-
If possible, by the next meeting, if
Yeah.
not, later. you
Yeah.
know.
And just
Okay.
one note on that. You're not seeing it reflected in the available balance because we're still getting some information
I was gonna
per
ask
the
about
closeout of
that.
the year. This $34,546 does not reflect the Bolin Fund or the interest from June, so I still have to tweak some of that for going into FY
Have you been
25.
getting the bank statements? Because remember, a long time ago, we weren't getting them, and then
Yes.
for a while, you were really. Town Hall was really doing a good job of
Mhm.
sending you the information as far as the bank statements are
Mhm.
concerned. Are you?
I am still getting them.
Okay,
Are you still wanting to see those every month? I think I was doing
yeah,
that.
you were
and
doing that.
Is
yeah,
that what
yeah,
you would
yeah,
still like me to be
yeah, I
doing?
would, but yeah.
Yes, I
yeah,
can do
yeah,
that, Mary.
Yeah,
Would everybody want, everybody should get those. I'll give those to everybody.
yeah, yeah.
Thanks, Mary.
Okay,
and another thing that I want to make sure that we maintain and keep up to date is, and I'm looking at what we were just looking at, the financial commitments, is that the monies associated with Albifi.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mary.
No,
Yep.
that's okay. I just want to make sure that we keep that up to date. And we don't lose track of
Mhm.
exactly what that is. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, thank you for that reminder.
so if that could be done, I'd
Mhm.
appreciate it.
Mhm.
Thank you.
okay. I do not believe that we have any memorial gifts this month to discuss. Okay. And then we are going into the building review checklist, Melanie's favorite subject, air conditioning. Okay, so
So we have some positive updates, which is great. So I sent you all an email, but the work to fix the HVAC system is scheduled for Thursday, and we will remain fully operational for that. I've been told that the work that is necessary should be done mostly outside, so it shouldn't be disruptive to us, which is great. I'm just very appreciative for everybody kind of working to help me out with that, because I know there were a lot of town projects going on and I was getting a little pushy at the end there. So that's exciting that we are moving and grooving with that. I updated the building checklist. We decided a couple years ago that we were gonna kind of close that out at the end of the year and sort of start afresh for the new ones. So there are things that we sort of finished up or like kind of didn't really apply as we're going into FY25. So I have FY24 listed in my notes, but we have kind of a clean list for FY25. So that we can note things like the upcoming gutter cleaning, window washing, et cetera, keep track of that. The roof repair is the next update on here. We haven't had a lot of rain. It's been very warm. I do know that Scott had some folks come over to take a look at things, but because the HVAC issue was more pressing, that's kind of where we are with that. I don't have another update on the roof at this time, but that will be my next thing to get more information from with that. And the outdoor furniture, I did hear back from the gentleman at Top Notch Cleaning, who I got his information from Debbie Abbott. And he was really busy with 4th of July appointments, things like that. But he did get back to me with a price for cleaning the outdoor furniture with his kind of vinegar wash and gentle power washing, which I felt would be acceptable for our furniture and, making sure it's kind of maintained for the future. So after that goes through, I'm gonna figure out how we want to pay for that based on,
How much was it?
it was a little over $600 for all of the
That's not bad.
furniture.
$600?
A little over that,
That's not bad.
No?
yeah.
And is that all of the furniture or just the ones that really need it?
We're gonna have them do all the outdoor furniture,
Okay, great.
just because some of it like in little spots is
You might
whatever,
as
so
well,
yeah, just get it kind
And
of.
it's a reasonable price.
Yeah, and after he does that, I'm just gonna see if this is something that he suggests doing as needed annually, just kind of figure out how that's gonna work out, and then depending on what he says, figure out how to potentially budget for that in the future.
And where were you thinking of paying, how were you thinking of paying for that?
I have to double check, because it's really at the start of the year. I'm not sure that I want to use our sort of building maintenance line just in case something else comes up. So I'm thinking of asking the friends if they'll help us out with that.
Well, the other thing is that Albifi paid for the
Oh.
majority of that, of that furniture.
And we have in the past used LBF funds for the maintenance
Yeah,
of furniture, fixtures, and
furniture,
equipment.
fixtures, equipment,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's an option.
Okay,
So see where you want to go with that, but it is available
Okay.
for that.
Thank you.
And that would enable you to expend down an account
Mhm, mhm.
that eventually maybe we would clean it out.
Okay.
So either way, but whatever
Thank
you
you.
think is most appropriate.
Thank you.
But as I said, since all of it was purchased by Albifi monies.
Yeah.
It would seem to me that Albifi should, if they have the monies, maintain it.
Okay.
Yeah, I would support that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, fence.
Fence,
Oh, thank
fence.
you. Yes, that happened, right after, well, not right after. It felt like right after I sent you guys the packet and then.
Yeah, yeah, I saw it the other day. Well,
So-
parked in front of it now, I think.
Yeah, we did unfortunately have another incident where user error, somebody accidentally drove through the fence. Luckily, no one was injured or anything. So that is the most important thing. A police report was filed, a claim has been made to insurance. So that's all going to get coordinated. It did take a long time to get repaired last time, and we also had, for my part, I felt confused because what I was told we had been given by insurance did not match at all
Oh, the
with the
cost.
quote that I had gotten from Premier Fence to do the work.
Mm.
And I understand that like things might not match up exactly, but it really necessitated DPW to do the work in-house and only, get the materials for the fence. And so I'm just kind of confused as to how, like, when something like this happens, insurance just can decide sort of not to provide the amount that covers it. So I've kind of made that, I noted that to administration, and I'm hoping for more information to see if we can ensure that that doesn't happen this time.
Just from the experience in the past of having had a house fire, the insurance will oftentimes come back and you'll be looking at something that you're talking to a contractor who's saying this is going to take $3,000 to fix. And the insurance company comes back and says, well, it's $1,000 job. The insurance company can be directed, asked to, well, then you provide a contractor who'll do it for the $1,000. And if they come up with a contractor, just like hospital insurance, they pay a lot less than the listed price because they have contracts with various doctors and drug firms, et cetera. Sometimes the insurance companies have contractors with vendors. And if they can come up with, a vendor who will do the job for what they're offering to pay, that might be worth exploring.
Okay, thank you, Al. I appreciate that insight
I
there.
don't know if it'll get anywhere, but it'll be
Right.
worth exploring.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the support
Okay.
there. DPW said that they would be meeting with the adjuster when they come out to take a look, so
Yeah.
appreciating their help with that.
Yeah,
I just want to say that when we had it before, I think it was winter time. When the first,
It was 2 years ago
The day.
yeah.
to the day.
Real, you're kidding.
I'm not kidding you.
You gotta be
I
kidding.
think it got fixed in the winter time because it
Yeah,
took about
yeah,
6
yeah.
months to get fixed.
It was the
Right.
day of the hydrangea tour.
Oh, I was here when it happened.
Yeah,
Isn't
to
that
the day.
unreal?
I was,
To the
but I
day.
didn't
was
realize that it
looking
was
at
today.
it.
I couldn't believe that.
okay.
The hydrangea was making people loopy. No,
No, but I'm just, because it is this time of the year and those cottages are being used.
yes.
And people are in them, to have that space with, well, it still not gets too dark early, but I'm just thinking of car lights
Yeah,
going into
shining in there,
that
yeah.
house right next door.
The
Yeah.
spot is a little bit, I definitely have that concern too, but
Yeah.
this time it's a little bit more in the woody area.
Mhm,
So
yeah,
even
yeah.
lights facing at it, like it was right in that
Yeah,
one
right,
cottage
That's
window,
right, yeah.
but it's a little more over. It's not the same panel it was
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
So I'm hoping we won't get.
Wouldn't that be awful? Well, I don't know.
I thought it was.
Same panel.
Bullseye.
Bullseye, yeah. Put a bullseye, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
is there any other business to bring before us?
No, I
this
think,
afternoon?
the last one was the fence. So thank you. We're all-
Okay,
Well, but I just have something, and I meant to bring it up last time, and it was in our packet last time, under the building. And it was under the, let me see, where was it? It was, oh, yeah, here it is, here. It's parking lot traffic assessment, and then you had, Melanie, fall 2023 this is an older page, or winter 20, and it probably was winter 2022, and then you had Jackie Beebe's name on here.
I talked to Jackie about it, and I think it was the kind of thing where she was, floating the ideas of things that would be possible, but when we were kind of talking about it in more detail, and I had gotten, kind of the initial conversation with Jim, who had done the traffic assessment for Eastham, that's not cheap work. And just kind of based on an initial assessment and some things that he was proposing to me and further conversations with Jackie, the board might disagree and maybe I misunderstood, but it didn't feel like that was an expense that we really wanted to invest in at the time, because we had gotten the signage, we had pulled back the curbs, and we had a few other successful things. And so we weren't really looking to totally rework the parking lot.
Yeah.
that's what I
So I kind
remember.
of backed off of the assessment
Okay, so
there.
I just didn't
Yeah.
understand what Jackie's involvement was in there.
Because she had given me his contact
Oh,
information.
okay,
Yeah, I think we
okay.
resolved that
Yeah.
when you said we could, we could increase it, but we'd lose spaces, we'd do this. I
Yeah.
thought we had that big whole discussion.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, so, seeing no other business, our next meeting is scheduled for August 20th at 4 PM, and the next agenda prep meeting is on August 12th at 9:30 AM. May I have a motion to adjourn?
August 12th or August 17th?
It says, on my thing, it says August 12th.
Yes,
but
that's right.
So what was that again?
The agenda prep meeting
Oh, the
is
agenda. prep.
August
9:30, Monday,
Okay,
August
okay. I'm
12th.
sorry, I thought you were talking about a meeting, the meeting.
No. May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
we have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
It is
Carried.
5:18.
Okay.